welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. For a radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com here in Mississippi, we're glad you all can be with us. Also tuning in worldwide via our podcast at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music. We're glad you all could be with us as well. When I say the name actor Matthew Marsden, you guys can think of your favorite movie that you've seen him in, but right now he's gearing up for the release of the new movie Protocol 7 that's coming out July 10th and will be streaming August the 2nd. I want to talk to Matthew not only about what it's been like for him to see the early response to the film, but also what it's been like for him as a storyteller, as an actor, to be able to bring stories to life and to have people discuss them as well. He also has a podcast we'll talk to him about as well and let you guys know how to stay connected with him. Matthew, thank you again for the time. Really appreciate it.
Well, Cyrus, thank you very much for having me on.
Hey, the pleasure is definitely all mine. I want to begin with Protocol 7 because you all had the screening, I think it was in New York, at the end of May. What has it been like for you, Matthew, to see the way that people are responding to the film?
You hope, that you're going to do a movie and it's going to get a positive result. You never know. Michael Caine said to me, nobody ever sets out to make a bad movie, right? But you do hope that not only people respond to the movie as a movie in and of itself, right? The quality of the film, but also it's an added bonus when you have a subject that really matters, and so the reaction to it has been phenomenal on both fronts. We've had people say, "I didn't realize that this was going on. This is unbelievable. Thank you." But we've had people saying, "Thank you for being a voice for us. We've been fighting this fight for 20 years or 30 years or however long." And also we've had people say, "Hey, listen, this is a really, really great movie with great characters, and it's been very, very well done with great acting. We've won, I believe, 22 awards so far, which is always nice to be recognized." So as far as the film's concerned, I couldn't be happier, to be honest. It seems to be doing well on all fronts, yeah.
Matthew, one of the reviews that I read about Protocol 7 is it kind of dovetails with what you were just saying. They were saying, how well it is presented, and one of the things that the reviewer said is you'll forget that you're watching a film. You'll actually feel like you're watching the news. Is that also something that you hope comes from this, not only to be able to, of course, movies, love to entertain, but also to get people to thinking a little bit?
Yeah, I think that in recent years, people have put too much emphasis on trying to get some kind of message across, right? Like trying to push some kind of agenda. This isn't really that. It's a movie that tells a story that has something in it that is relevant for everyone, which I think is kind of different. It's kind of a throwback to the Erin Brockovich type of film where you are being educated in the sense it's a real story. It really happened. And people are finding things out, and it becomes very personal, because when it comes to things like medication, we all have medication, right? We all take it in one way, shape, or form. It's something that's intimate to us. So I think that the movie does educate people in that way by telling a real story, right? It's not trying to preach to people, but it's also saying, hey, guys, listen, this is based on true events. This really happened. And when I was very fortunate to be involved in a movie that was based on real events when I first came to America, which was Black Hawk Down, and that really affected people viscerally, and certainly people who were in the military. So it's always, I think, the stakes are higher for you as an actor when you are doing something that's based on true events and that has affected real people's lives. So, I do think it's educational, but not in a kind of preachy way. And I think you get lost in it, Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I think that is one of the things that definitely comes through in your work. I mean, you've been able to be a part, as I mentioned in my intro, Matthew, of some amazing projects over the years. Talk to us about that experience, because that has literally been able to build you a fan base around the world. What has that been like for you as an actor to be able to do something that you're obviously passionate about and to see people respond to your work the way they do?
Well, it's a dream. Okay, I mean, it just is a dream because, when I started off in the UK, I was just like, I just want to be an actor. It's what I love doing. In the UK, you never really think you're going to make any money, right? You certainly don't think you're going to be famous. You just think, okay, I'm going to end up in theatre somewhere, getting paid like $100 a week. So, being being in these bigger projects, it's kind of like a filter system. So you go, in the UK, you'll go to theatre. If you're good at theatre, you might get a television job. If you're good in television, you might get a British movie. And then ideally, you get to come over and play with the big boys in America. I mean, that's the gold standard, is to do Hollywood movies. So I've been very, very fortunate in my life to be able to do that and to make a living out of it, which is a dream. And again, you know, I think that things have changed so much now that some people want to be famous for famous' sake. But as an actor, if you become well known, it's just because people have seen your films, you know, which is a different kind of approach. And I feel very, very fortunate that I'm able to make a living doing what I love, and I have done for, goodness me, it's nearly 30 years now. So I'm very blessed and fortunate.
Matthew, the last thing I want to talk to you about, and we're going to remind our audience again how they will be able to see Protocol 7, but I want to talk to you about using your own individual personal voice, because I think, you know, again, I've been focusing on the fact of what you've been able to do as an actor, but as Matthew Marsden, the individual, you've been able to also use your platform as well. Why has that been so important for you to do?
You know, that's a really great question. I'd say that normally actors, I prefer when actors actually keep their gob shut and don't say anything. I'm not a big fan of actors speaking out, because I think that it, you know, a lot of the time, you know, like, oh my goodness me, you just ruined my favorite movie by spouting this or that. But I found that, you know, throughout COVID, there were very few people saying the other side of things, right? There were very few people coming out and saying things that were opposite to, I'll call it the Borg, right? Like the majority of Hollywood are certainly one way. And so I just thought, you know what, I'm going to speak up about this just because I felt like it was absolutely necessary in those times. I wouldn't normally have done it. And then what happened was I found that people were contacting me saying, hey, listen, we feel like we don't have a voice. Please keep talking. And against my better judgment, I was like, okay, because I felt like I couldn't really disappoint them, you know, people that don't really have as much of a reach and just want to be heard. And just the simple things, you know, it's just the simple things, just saying things that maybe 5 years ago were seen as normal and now they're seen as being really weird. So that, you know, as I said, as an actor, I'd rather not really talk about anything. But yeah, I felt it that necessary for me to speak, just to give another side, and just to say, like I say, you know, not all actors are like this. Not all actors think the same way, you know.
Well, I think it's an important thing, and I think it's great that people get to know, Matthew, who you are as an individual outside of what you do with your art and your craft, so that's definitely appreciated. Again, everyone, Matthew Marsden has been our guest. The film, though, that we've been talking about is Protocol 7. It's in theaters nationwide July 10th, streaming August the 2nd, and make sure you guys are staying connected with Matthew. He is on social media, or you guys can visit his website at MatthewMarsden.com. Matthew, continued success to you. Thank you again for the time, and looking forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
We're glad to do it. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. And let's go make today amazing. Take care.